Hey there, welcome to the Memoir series where today I invite back the beautiful Julie Margot. Thanks for joining, Julie.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back. This is really, I love what you're doing. I love the contribution you are being and the conversations that you're having. It's so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, we're getting more and more nitty gritty, more and more into the details. And we're talking about something nitty gritty today for sure. And that is the D word.
Oh no.
Divorce. How there's plenty of it. What is it? What are the statistics still 50%? What?
I thought about it this morning. I should look that up. And I thought, should I?
Should I?
So
No.
I did not. So if people are interested, I would invite them to Google it and maybe post it in the comments below.
Oh, yeah. Good thought right there. Yeah, perfect. Well, and a lot of people experience divorce. All of us are affected by it. We kind of walk through it together even when we don't know it, and we don't know how to walk through it together. And I know you don't mind sharing because I did ask you before, is you're currently processing the tail end or the end of a divorce proceeding?
I don't know as far as the end or tail end, but yes, I'm in the midst of a divorce.
Okay.
Yeah. And full transparency, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do here, folks.
We do here, folks. On this actually my second divorce.
Shame. Right. Well, that full transparency is amazing, and that's why you are amazing. But so yeah, right. So when you go through that the first time, I'm sure that was one experience, and now the process of the second time, I'm sure it's a knowledgeable and different experience. What do you find? How do you find people approach you or react to you or say things to you? I mean, have you noticed kind of a pattern? Like people say, "Oh, what happened?" Judge. But is that what you
very interesting? It is very interesting. And I'm going to answer you. And before I step into that, I want to invite everybody who's watching and listening. What comes up for you? Hear the word divorce.
Oh, good point.
Divorce. I'm getting a divorce. She got divorced. They're getting divorced. What comes up for you, right? And yes, judgment. You mentioned it right there. And it's really kind of amazing and insidious, because even if people don't speak the words, the energy is there. Right? And a big part of what I noticed, probably more in my first divorce, because I think I was talking about it more. I think I was trying to process it with other people as opposed to being aware of my own stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
What did you do?
Girl?
What's that?
Lots of growth in you there, right? You can appreciate yourself in that process.
A different person, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did he do?
What happened?
What happened?
What? Explain. Yeah. Make this make sense to me.
Right.
Well, why does it need to make sense to me? Exactly. Aren't we cute?
And we are. We're adorable. And I think my point of view, one of the places that comes from is fear. If you're getting divorced, what does that say about my relationship?
Right.
Right. Whether or not they think I'm an awesome person or not, right? They may think I'm just the worst of the worst, because I mean, obviously now they have proof, right? Because I'm getting divorced again. Yeah. The worst of the worst. Yeah. And that's fine, because even that allows them the place to step back from their fear. So I would just invite people to notice what comes up for them, and ask the question, is this even mine?
Ooh.
Or is this just an expectation from TV, from training, from family, from all of the socialization that we get, and the training of this is the way it's supposed to go? Cool. How many times has it actually gone that way?
Yeah. Right. When you do take that step back, and you're right. I mean, you hear so-and-so's getting divorced. Oh, why? What happened? Like, we have to make it make sense to ourselves. But what you're saying is, like, you're noticing because there's an underlying fear for themselves. I also think the brain automatically wants to make sense of things for that fear, or for my own life, or for sometimes just for sports. You've
oh
seen,
my gosh, it's drama. Let's pull out the Trauma of the drama. Woo! What's happening?
Yeah. Ooh. Let's spectate on that. Let's spectator sport that. Which, wow, how does that help anybody along in the process? And especially, I think of the kids. I remember I talked to our second grade teacher, and I was like, "Wow, how'd you pick second grade?" And he taught second grade for years and years, and he said, it's one of the toughest years for kids. And I'm like, oh, really? 7, 8 years old? What's up with that? And he said, well, it's the most popular or the most common time that parents get divorced after that 7, 8 year of marriage period, or their kid is 7 or 8 years old. It's apparently, he either had stats or his own experience, but it was the most common time that his kids in his classroom were experiencing divorce. And if you think about that, those kids at 7 and 8 years old are trying to talk about it and make sense. And they're talking to kids, oh, your parents already live apart and your parents don't. And so all of that's why I said at the beginning, everybody's affected.
Yeah.
Not infected. It's not a bad or terrible thing, but it's just something to communicate about and just make a loving conversation about, not what happened, whatever.
I think that's a big one. A big one. I'm going to have vocabulary today.
I know. They were both a little blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So I think it's one of the challenges is there isn't a correct way to talk about it. When we are in a new relationship or moving into a new relationship, there's all of this ritual. There's all of this celebration. There's all of this, and now you'll be there forever. Pressure, anyone?
Yes, even if he beats the crap out of you, work it out.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, that is not my situation.
Oh yeah.
I just want
that brings up a whole different trigger for people, and I certainly make no light of that at all. And that's another thing. It's like the way I would approach you and say, oh, Julie, you're getting a divorce, or, the automatic, why, what happened? What would be some other options to, hey, Julie, you're getting a divorce. How you feeling? How can I support you? What do you need? And what other things can we say to someone?
Yeah, those are awesome things. One of the things that I'll say to people sometimes, it's like, oh, okay. Is it congratulations or condolence?
That's awesome.
Which is kind of a playful way to ask, what do you require?
Yeah. And it gives the possibility. Gives the possibility of congratulations.
Exactly. Yeah. Because what if ending is not failure?
What if ending is beginning?
Oh, well, that's my point of view.
Yeah.
And it's not about wrongness. It's like, okay, this was an amazing adventure. I have learned so much. We created things together and life shifted. Right?
Yeah.
And there is, even in saying that out loud, being aware of people watching this later, excuse me, see, it's coming up a little in my throat, is just aware of the judgments that brings up. Well, did you try hard enough? What did you not do? That's another energy that comes across. And it wants to bring up this defensive-ness. Quote Byron Katie, who I absolutely adore, defense is the first act of war.
Wow.
So when I go into defending my choice, not even defending myself against my future ex, my almost husband.
Husband, I love it.
Isn't that great? I wish I could claim it, but I heard it somewhere. But
fantastic.
Feel free, husband. When I feel it come up that I need to defend my choice, that puts me in a stance of aggression. And we want to say, oh, defense is not aggression, but what are you defending?
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. Shields up. Hunkered down. I'm not wrong.
But that's what we're taught to do when we're vulnerable. Yes. Like people they're going to make their comments. And as you know, I kind of went through a growing up around that, and they're going to make their comments, and I need to I grew up in a family where it's like the person who got the last dig in was the winner.
Yeah.
wait, how does that make a better situation, right? So, so
You're crying, so I win. Yay!
seriously. And so it's a vulnerable thing to walk through a divorce. And you're not standing there always centered and like, I'm super clear. And, maybe it's a situation, again, not that we need the backstory, but maybe it's a woman who's standing there feeling like, my husband's been cheating on me with the secretary. Let's just go with the old traditional, and she happens to be a woman. And, for 2 years and blah, blah, blah. And so now he's dumped me for the younger woman and blah, blah. So, the age old story. So she's standing there betrayed, hurt, shocked. What now? How am I going to manage? Who am I? Uh, will I attract someone again someday? All of these scary, fearful things. And, now what's my PR statement to everybody? So I think it makes sense to kind of have a shield, but I think it makes more awareness and more wholeness and more centeredness and peace in yourself is to go, forget the shield. Let's be in me and figure all of that out for myself, even before I have to go face some of the wolves, which people are just going to say stuff. They just do.
They do. They do. And and what if we don't have to make them wrong for it?
Gosh,
right?
dang it, Julie.
I know. I say these things to myself as well, which you do know.
I know. But that's awesome. What if we don't have to make them wrong and massively defend us? And it doesn't have to be this. Maybe it could be something different. Like, what if somebody does get, okay, so we all know that person who is willing to go there and be all hurtful. So if you're not quite ready and the sting is stinging, maybe it's just a matter of helping that person be a little bit more aware, like, wow, I'm really in a tough place right now. And that stings. Or what would make you say something like that? Or, or just something that you can feel a little bit like, whew, okay, I can get through this if I have a little go-to. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. And I just want to bring something up around my previous divorce. Was a lot younger, had young kids in the house, lots of fear-based, lots of money fear, lots of the stories were really in my face at that point.
Yeah.
And I went into very much defense. And I not completely, but to a large part, bought myself as victim. And then other people would want to pat my hand and tell me, oh, that's so bad. That's so terrible. And I'm so sorry. And it must be so hard. Which I will totally acknowledge, for the most part, people are coming from a place of wanting to contribute.
Right.
They really are. And I don't want to discount that. What I am aware of is people don't know how.
That's totally it.
Yeah.
No.
It's like with the death. What do you say? Oh, he's in a better place.
I want him here.
In the midst of it, the response to that, at least internally, that I've noticed energetically, starts with an F. Because it's not, what is she talking about? You played on your YouTube. But it's from a place of wanting to contribute, wanting to console.
Yes.
I think a really, really helpful thing to be is honest with yourself around what it's bringing up for you. Wow. I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. I don't quite know what to do with this information. What do you need? That is an awesome thing to hear.
Yeah.
Something to hear. And you're my friend. I care about you.
Yes.
It's an awesome thing to hear.
Yes. Kind of even just that solid ground of a friendship, while the rest of your perceived ground for now, short term, is a little quicksandy until you get through it, and they will, and they will, and whatever that looks like. But at the time when somebody's so raw, it does feel like, I think I've mentioned this to you. I feel like there's so many people with good hearts and that come from that good place, but don't know what to say, but feel like they need to say something, and it just is difficult and comes across. And you could change day to day too. Today you could want to hear from me, Lynn, I don't even want to talk about it. The next day could be like, I need to talk for the next 3 hours, fasten your seatbelt. And the
Mhm.
next day it could just be like, just tell me you love me and you're my friend, right? And so
Yeah.
so it's
And
kind of
it
like
may also be a day where I need to call and just vomit.
yeah, right.
Ah! And get it out.
Yeah. And then me in that holding that space for you going, I'm not going to hold that all on you because the next day the vomit's gone. We've cleaned that up.
Exactly. We're moms. We know what to
We're
do with
moms. We know how to do vomit. Unfortunately, so well.
that. Hey, vomit happens.
Yeah, but it does. It certainly does. But yeah, holding that space for that person, even if they say, crazy things in that moment, it's like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Even, okay, so it's that, I guess I get back to that judgment thing a little bit too, is
Yeah.
like, I've actually heard moms, or a couple just go, like a woman braves to come to the party then by herself, which can
Mhm.
you imagine well, yes, you can. The first time you show up uncoupled. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm showing up. I'm by myself. I'm not walking with anybody. Hi, I'm going to talk. I can't even. It's a different. I can't. You have to really probably gen up to go like, this is okay. I can show up to this, and then to have some mom, oh, she's going to flirt with my husband and da da da. I better defend that territory, right? It's
Right.
like,
Right. Because I mean, women can't be trusted.
oh God.
How many messages do we receive of that?
Yeah.
Well, the only way women compete is cattiness.
What? Yeah.
Megan Rapinoe is all I got to say. The U.S. women's soccer team. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look her
Right,
up.
right, right, right. Yeah. Or like when the affair situation happens in TVs and movies and all that kind of stuff, they show the scorned wife going after the adulterous woman.
Right, right. It's her fault
Uh,
because
I
that's who
think
she married.
the guy's junk was there too. Oh, did I say that out loud?
That's all right. And what if that was the easy way out, the unconscious way out?
Mm,
Because our culture does not allow for ending.
yeah.
I mean, it is prevalent, as you said right at the beginning. It is affecting all of us,
It is.
whether it has been directly or not. We know someone who's been divorced. We're a child of divorce. We have sisters, brothers. It's affected our lives.
Yeah.
And it is one of the biggest wrongnesses societally. There's no place where, well, maybe if he was hitting you, that's okay.
Oh God.
But maybe not. There are people who have a different point of view.
Yes.
And my point in bringing this up is not to make anybody wrong. It's to shine a light on other possibility,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I think that comes from stopping and questioning, like I was mentioning before, where you're at. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a day by day situation if you're
Mm-hmm.
going through the divorce.
Sister, moment by moment.
Yeah, moment by moment. Yeah, exactly.
There are days that are a roller coaster all day long,
Yeah.
and there are
And you're allowed that. You're
yeah.
allowed, that's allowed. That's okay. And you don't have to explain to anybody.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh man.
And it's change. Again, something we're not trained to deal with.
We're not trained to
We're
deal
trained
with.
to fear it. Every major change, and probably most of the minor changes I've experienced in my life, have always led to greater
Mm.
change.
Because you're open to it and you're looking for it. And change is always around us. Like this morning, I noticed the Canadian geese here start to fly in their formations. They never go anywhere. They just practice. They don't actually migrate, but I guess it's ingrained or something.
Oh, they like it.
I noticed and I was like, oh, they're starting to practice their change, their migration pattern for the fall. Oh, fall must be around the corner. Oh, and I allowed myself to be aware, like, there's so many changes that are happening in my life and all of that. And so as we walk through stuff, whatever it is, divorce or whatever,
Mhm.
just that stillness and recognizing change, and perhaps a dash of intentionality. How do I want that change to look? I don't have to be a devastated victim by this divorce, this whatever, fill in the blank.
How
Maybe I
can we
can step out.
celebrate the choice?
Yeah. What are my
Remember,
choices? What are my possibilities?
yeah, yeah. What else is possible now?
Right. Right.
Now. Um, and since I'm in the midst of one and I have another, I'm gonna bounce back and forth with a couple of examples. When I was in the midst of the divorce with my first husband, I had kids at home. People would say, "Oh, it must be so hard. It
Mm.
must be so hard to now be a single parent." Quite honestly, that marriage was over probably 2 years before he left, and it was so much easier.
Even just the emotional dark cloud.
Yeah, and I didn't have the expectation of help. I didn't have the story of good husbands are fill in the blank,
Mm.
good fathers are fill in the blank, which were judgments on my place, on my account,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? That I was holding him to a standard that I had, super secret. This is the rule. I don't. Some of it I was conscious of. Some of it I wasn't.
It's society says it's in the
Right.
sitcom. This is what you do.
Exactly.
Now take out the garbage.
Take out the garbage, and yeah, exactly, because that's what the boy does.
Oh, God help us.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. So yeah, it's there's so many expectations and projections,
Yeah.
neither of which are presents.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Oh, this happened, so that means that must.
Yeah. If then.
If then.
I must. Yeah. That's part of my story of becoming unstuck as a mom is I bought into all that stuff, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So yeah, the struggle to come out of that and the recognition of victimhood.
Yeah.
Oh, I took out the garbage again. That's the man job.
You know what really got me? This was, I haven't done the math, but I was 30. We'll put it that way.
A couple years ago.
Couple years ago, just a minute ago. The place that I felt the most vulnerably on display as a newly divorced or divorcing person,
Uh-huh.
cutting my lawn.
Really?
Yes.
I
I
was
lived in suburbia at that point, and it's just not something I ever did. And
ah,
it wasn't like, girls don't cut the lawn, women don't cut the lawn. It just, he enjoyed it. He did it.
something he did.
But that first time I can still remember that feeling of everyone's looking at me. Everyone knows. Everyone's judging me.
Ugh.
Everyone. That's
How'd you
helpful.
get through it? What'd you do?
I kept cutting the lawn. And I
Keep
thought,
the
okay,
lawn.
I kept cutting the lawn. And I thought, if you need to do that, that's yours. Am I better at that now than I was then? Yes, I am. And from that, in that moment, it was more of a protection. I'm going to block it all out. My choice in this moment is to allow it to flow by.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really don't need to engage in it at all. And to step back to your, going to a party by myself and other women worrying about this wild divorcee.
You wild thing.
A wild thing. You know, women supporting women.
Mm,
And that starts with me,
right.
right?
Right.
And if I am aware of a judgment, a spikiness, a something coming from someone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at choice. And, it can go in all different directions. It can go in the space of, hey, Lynn, awesome. How have you been? Let's go grab a glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play with you. Yes, there's your husband. I don't hate him, even though he's a man. I don't need to drag him away from you so I can win at what?
What?
Whatever that competition is that we're trained into believing. I call BS on it.
Yeah. It's masquerade. It's fake.
Yeah.
Fake.
It is a, dare I say, strategy. Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Make sure women don't trust each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Call it
yeah,
BS.
all the more so, and of course you're going to run across a woman who might be a little spiky, like you said, and whatever. And it's like, you don't have to spike back.
Nope.
There's no tit for tat. It's just like, I see you and I'm going to choose to move. That's one of my choices. I'm going to just to choose to move on, but I don't have to grumble the whole way home and go, I can't believe she wasn't kind to me and I needed a kind word right now. And what did she need? Maybe she was spiky for a reason too.
Right. Right. And I needed this, and which she should know. Right. And what are the possibilities that the spikiness I felt from that woman had nothing to do with me at all, but I was judging myself so harshly that every spiky I felt was all about me.
Bingo. Bingo. I think that's
Right?
the definition of victimhood.
I don't think any of my neighbors had any spark at all seeing me cut the grass.
They were like,
noticed.
Probably were, finally it was getting a little long. No. There was their judgment. No.
Right? It's about time.
I love it. Oh, I think this is really, really, really good stuff. I mean, we've said a lot here, and a lot of it is that stopping, that stillness, that questioning, that choice, that possibility. What am I bringing up for myself? And really looking at that and saying, is that mine? Did I choose that? Or is that some imposition of culture or wherever that's from? I don't choose that. I don't want to be disconnected from other women. I don't. I choose to be connected.
And men. I don't hate men.
And men.
But you're twice divorced. You're supposed to.
Oh, is that part of the? Is that the okay? Number one, get divorced, bad mouth, hate all men because you're a man. It didn't work out. Okay, I didn't know that was on the list.
Yeah, that's on the list. So be a good woman and know that.
Okay. I got to get out there and get to some women today. Have you hated your man today?
It really is interesting, and I would invite people to be in the question.
I love that.
Be present and aware of what's coming up. Because, and I'm not going to sit here and say I never get triggered. It just, triggers actually are amazing because they are signposts to where we can heal.
Opportunity.
Yeah. I'm triggered about this because I have a wound there. Right?
So true. And it's funny when you get triggered over and over again and you're like, yeah, they keep triggering me. Maybe there's
everybody always. I never.
Women are so mean. Wait a minute. Yeah, no, not at all. And as I raise daughters and try to create that awareness with them too. So let me wrap up by asking you a question. What do you need right now?
Oh, my love. Thank you. It feels so light to be having this conversation.
Good.
Yeah, it feels like a contribution.
Good.
And what I desire and require is for people to be aware of themselves, to be aware of their choice to be a contribution, and also the possibility of contributing through honoring as opposed to fighting. Like, I honor you, I honor your process, as opposed to, what did that son of a bitch do?
Right.
Right.
That takes some practice. That takes some commitment. Takes a lot of awareness. But it's a beautiful thing, and the way you phrase that is phenomenal. I'm gonna quote that down below, and I'm gonna put your information down below on how to connect with Julie. She does beautiful things with beautiful people. That's you watching. And I so appreciate you today for this conversation. While you're in the midst of it all, I can really learn from you, and I just appreciate that and sharing it with us all.
Absolutely. It is, life, it's an adventure.
It sure is. I'm in.
Me too. Both feet, all in.
I like doing life with you, girl.
Me too, you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time on the Beautiful Momwire series. And thanks to Julie Margot. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Remember to subscribe.